Welcome to the Cosmic Folds Paranormal Highway, Louisiana edition. Before we hit the backroads, bayous, and things that go bump after midnight, let's get oriented. Louisiana officially became the 18th U.S. state in 1812. It's about 52,000 square miles of swamps, rivers, coastlines, and land that occasionally decides to become water again without asking permission. The capital is Baton Rouge, but the soul of the state is New Orleans. That's where jazz was born, cocktails were perfected, and people will absolutely tell you a ghost story while handing you food that changes your life. Louisiana's population is around 4.6 million, and economically, it runs on energy, shipping, agriculture, seafood, chemicals, and tourism. Often all at once, sometimes in the same place. If it floats, drills, grows, or can be eaten with hot sauce, Louisiana has monetized it. Now let's address the reputation. Yes, voodoo is part of the cultural mythology here, blending African, Caribbean, Catholic, and folk traditions. Is it spooky? Sometimes. Is it misunderstood? Constantly. Is it responsible for everything weird that happens? Absolutely not. But people will still blame it anyway. And then there are the storms. Hurricane Katrina in 2005 wasn't just a natural disaster, it was a national reckoning. Levee failures, displacement, and recovery scars reshaped the state and its people, leaving behind not just ruined neighborhoods, but stories, anger, resilience, and unanswered questions that still echo today. Which brings us to why we're here. Because in Louisiana, history doesn't stay buried. It seeps up through the floorboards. It drams in with the fog. And sometimes, it answers back. Welcome to the Cosmic Folds Paranormal Highway, Louisiana edition, where the ghosts have accents, the legends have paperwork, and reality occasionally loses the plot.
We begin our journey on the Paranormal Highway in New Orleans. 16 prisoners went to sleep in the same jail cell. 16 prisoners were found hanging the next morning. In 1877, a skeptic volunteered to spend the night there. By 10:40 p.m., a voice told him to hang himself.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
They called it cell number 17. It wasn't famous for escapes. It wasn't famous for riots. It was famous because prisoners kept dying there. 16 men went to sleep in that cell. 16 men were found hanging by morning. No explanation ever stuck. So in October of 1877, a man named George Archibald volunteered to spend the night inside. Not because he believed in ghosts, but because he didn't. Archibald described himself as a lifelong skeptic. No superstition, no belief in spirits. He had read the stories about this cell, the rumors, the abandoned police station, the whispered fear surrounding it. And he decided there was only one way to settle it. He asked permission to sleep inside the cell where men kept killing themselves. And to his surprise, permission was granted. At around 10 o'clock that night, George Archibald entered the cell. It was empty, bare, dimly lit by a gas lamp outside the iron bars. The bedding was filthy. The air was stale. Still, nothing felt strange. At first. He lay down on the bunk facing the bars. And at about 10:40 p.m., something changed. He felt it first, like someone breathing on his neck. He turned quickly. Nothing. A draft, he thought. But then it happened again, stronger this time. And with it, a whisper. Too faint to understand. Then came pressure, a firm weight on his shoulder, like a hand. George jumped to his feet. The cell was empty. No one on the gallery. No movement. His heart was racing now, but he told himself this was nerves, imagination. Until the voice spoke clearly, right next to his ear. Hang yourself. George demanded to know who was there. No answer. Moments passed. Then the voice returned, louder. Hang yourself, or we will hang you. That's when the sounds began. Footsteps outside the cell, invisible but unmistakable. The iron bars rattled violently, and suddenly George felt his arms restrained, hands he couldn't see. He struggled and failed. He was lifted off the floor, dragged toward the bars. His voice came out wrong when he screamed, hoarse, thin, swallowed by the cell. Then he felt something tighten around his neck. A rope, pulling. His vision dimmed, his breath disappeared. And just as everything began to fade, the pressure vanished. George collapsed onto the floor, gasping for air, unable to move, unable to speak. When he finally sat up, he wasn't alone. A woman stood before him, dressed in white, her face pale, her eyes unnaturally bright. She spoke calmly. You have escaped this time, she said, but you must not remain here. This cell is not for the living. And then, she vanished. Minutes later, officers found George sitting on the floor, shaking, pale, unable to explain what had happened. They released him immediately. At 11:30 p.m., he walked out of the station and went home. He never returned to cell 17. This story wasn't whispered folklore. It wasn't told decades later. It was published as fact in a New Orleans newspaper in 1877.
Hey! I thought I lost my internet for a second. Well, happy holidays, Al. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Right back at you. Right back at you. We are back live on the air. You know what I always think? The very first thing I think when I sit at my computer? Damn, I got to clean my keyboard.
Oh my gosh. So, how was your holiday? Was it a good one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got to see all the kids and the grandkids. My daughter was in from Texas.
Nice.
And my in-laws, her in-laws joined us at my daughter's house, and we had a full house, and it was very nice. It's been a week full of family, and that's always a good thing.
That's good. And so we've been waiting with bated breath, our audience, how your turkey turned out.
Perfect turkey. It was my first turkey, maybe my last, but it definitely came out good though. I have to thank Gordon Ramsay for the recipe.
Oh, wow.
But it was very good. It's a 12-pound turkey, so it wasn't just like giant monstrous bird, but there was a lot of other food there too, so we all ate very well.
That's good. We did too. Driving down, I have to drive down, they call it the Mogollon Rim. And so it's a really steep mountain pass that you go
Mhm.
down.
Yeah.
And it was the scariest damn thing because it had been raining off and on, and there was fog so
Oh,
thick that
yeah.
you could not see 4 feet in front of you. So everybody's driving like 10 miles an hour so we don't go off the side of the cliff with our flashers on. It was like it was one of those times I think I prayed when I got to the bottom of it. And then coming back up there was a giant wreck which probably was fatal. So I'm
Yeah.
just glad to be home. But it was a good holiday once I was down there. It was great.
Yeah. 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 That scenario um, was pretty much our entire existence in the Republic of Panama. These mountain roads that were 1, 2 lane,
Mhm.
very windy, no guardrails, and 400-foot cliffs right at the edge of the road. And a lot of on those curves, the road was collapsing. There's a lot of
Oh
landslides.
geez.
So you
Oh.
had to go on the other side of the road to continue on the road. You had to go the wrong way over the double yellow line there because the lane you were driving in had giant cracks in it and it was
Oh.
half falling down. And you want to talk about a butthole clencher is when you're driving at night and you have to go on the wrong side of the road on a curve in a foggy darkness at the base of a volcano.
Oh, that is. At least
So
this one had guardrails, but
no, there are no
God.
guardrails there. So I understand. And usually when someone had said, "Hey, you want to come over tonight?" and they lived up in the mountains, my first response was,
Oh
that
my
little guy?
gosh.
Cheated, didn't he?
I see. Well, I think our mountain driving stories are scarier than what we've got lined up for tonight, but
Oh,
we're
that's all
starting our first leg of the paranormal highway through
right.
Louisiana. And I tell you what,
Louisiana.
that's right. And I tell you what, there's a lot of stories. So we're just touching a few of them tonight.
Okay, cool.
So thank you for being here to read these because I'm
Oh,
not
not a
good
problem.
at this.
Not a problem. So we're going to talk about Louisiana haunted places. This is Cosmic Folds Paranormal Highway. First leg of the Louisiana Paranormal Highway.
A lot of old mansions out there.
Oh, it's cool because I'm an old man. Let's start with the Myrtle Plantation in St. Francisville. The Myrtle Plantation is often called the most famous haunted home in the United States. It's been earning that reputation for more than 2 centuries. Built in 1796 by General David Bradford, this stately house began its life as an antebellum plantation, worked by enslaved people whose suffering is an inescapable part of our history. Over time, the Myrtles became known not just for its age and architecture, but for an almost endless list of ghost stories, unexplained sightings, and photographs that refuse to behave themselves. It's been featured on countless television shows and investigated by just about everyone with a flashlight and a camera. And in 1978, it was officially added to the National Register of Historic Places, proving even America's most haunted house can still be historically respectable. And there's a video.
That's right. Kind of goes into the history. So I didn't have time to put my usual little stamp for public domains on there, but the link is in the description below. So here's
Okay.
our video on this. So I better remove this one first. Let's see. Where am I? Okay.
There we
So
go.
here we go with this one.
Nestled in St. Francisville, Louisiana, is often touted as one of the most haunted homes in America. Its storied history is as rich as it is chilling, filled with tales of tragedy, mystery, and supernatural phenomena. Today, we will delve into the eerie legends that shroud this infamous location. The plantation was built in 1796 by General David Bradford, a man fleeing prosecution for his role in the Whiskey Rebellion. Originally named Laurel Grove, it was later sold to his son-in-law, Clark Woodruff, who lived there with his wife, Sarah, and their children. It was during this period that the first whispers of ghostly occurrences began to surface. One of the most enduring legends surrounding the Myrtles plantation involves Chloe, an enslaved woman who worked for the Woodruff family. According to the story, Chloe was caught eavesdropping on a private conversation, and as punishment, her ear was severed. To cover the injury, she wore a green turban, a detail often mentioned in eyewitness accounts of her ghostly apparition. Seeking revenge or redemption, Chloe is said to have baked a poisonous cake, intending to sicken the family and then nurse them back to health, thereby regaining their favor. Tragically, her plan went awry, and both Sarah and two of the Woodruff children died after consuming the cake. Chloe was reportedly hanged by fellow enslaved workers and thrown into the Mississippi River. To this day, her spirit is believed to linger at the plantation, with sightings of a turbaned figure and unexplained phenomena attributed to her presence. Another layer of mystery surrounds the 17 ghosts said to haunt the Myrtles plantation. Among them are soldiers, former owners, and even children. Guests and staff alike report hearing disembodied voices, footsteps echoing through empty hallways, and the sound of a piano playing on its own. One of the most famous ghostly encounters involves the grand mirror in the main hallway. It is said to trap the spirits of Sarah and her children, and visitors often claim to see handprints or faces appear in its reflective surface. The plantation's haunted room, where numerous deaths have allegedly occurred, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Legend has it that William Winter, one of the plantation's owners, was shot on the front porch and staggered inside, dying on the 17th step of the staircase. To this day, visitors report hearing his dying footsteps ascending the stairs, only to stop abruptly. The tales don't end there. Over the years, visitors and paranormal investigators have reported chilling encounters at the Myrtles plantation. Guests staying overnight often describe waking up to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds, or feeling an icy hand brush against their skin. Others speak of doors opening and closing on their own, mysterious whispers in their ears, and sudden drops in temperature in specific rooms. These phenomena have drawn skeptics and believers alike, all seeking answers to the unexplained events that occur within the plantation's walls. The property itself adds to the unsettling atmosphere. Surrounded by ancient oak trees draped in Spanish moss, the Myrtles plantation seems frozen in time. Its antebellum architecture and ornate interiors evoke a sense of history that feels almost tangible, as though the past refuses to let go. The creaking of wooden floors, the dim glow of antique chandeliers, and the heavy silence of the Louisiana night all contribute to the feeling that you are never truly alone here. One particularly spine-tingling account comes from a former tour guide who claims to have seen the apparition of a little girl in 19th century clothing. The child was reportedly seen playing on the front lawn before vanishing into thin air. Another story involves a couple who captured what appeared to be a figure in a green turban standing in the background of their vacation photos, a figure they swear was not present when the photo was taken. The grand mirror in the main hallway continues to baffle visitors. Despite being cleaned regularly, mysterious smudges and handprints reappear on its surface. Some even claim to see fleeting images of faces, as though the mirror holds fragments of the past. This mirror has become one of the most iconic symbols of the Myrtles plantation, drawing countless visitors eager to glimpse its ghostly secrets. William Winter's tragic end is another story that resonates deeply with those who visit. The sound of his footsteps on the staircase is one of the most frequently reported phenomena. Some visitors have even claimed to feel a strange pressure on the 17th step, as if reliving the final moments of his life. This haunting detail has been the subject of numerous paranormal investigations, with some teams capturing unexplained audio recordings and thermal images. The Myrtles plantation has not only captured the imagination of ghost hunters, but has also become a cultural landmark. It has been featured in documentaries, television shows like Unsolved Mysteries, and even horror films inspired by its eerie reputation. Its ghost tours attract thousands of visitors each year, each hoping to witness the supernatural events for themselves. While skeptics argue that many of the stories are exaggerated or fabricated, the consistent stream of reported encounters suggests that something otherworldly may indeed reside within its walls. Whether these phenomena are the result of restless spirits, psychological suggestion, or something else entirely, the allure of the Myrtles plantation remains undeniable. For those brave enough to visit, the Myrtles offers a unique blend of history and mystery. Guests can explore the grounds during the day or book an overnight stay to fully immerse themselves in the experience. But be warned, many who have stayed overnight leave with stories of their own, forever marked by the chilling presence of this haunted estate. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Myrtles plantation remains an enigma, a place where history and legend intertwine. Its haunting beauty and mysterious aura continue to captivate and terrify those who visit. So, what do you think?
So what do you think? That
I
one's
think I'd be
quite
staying at the
famous,
Holiday Inn
actually.
Express. That's what I think.
It's one of the few that have some of these, pictures that look like something in it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that one is quite famous. But how those slaves were treated back then was just absolutely horrible, just
Well, I think in
disgusting.
general how slaves were treated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, to be slaves in the first place, it's just really awful. But that's
yeah.
a pretty famous haunt in Louisiana.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah,
Very,
it would be
very
fun to
interesting.
go there.
Yeah, I think. Well, drive by it. Yeah, yeah. No, that would actually be real. I love all the architecture like that. So, like all
Yeah.
the trellises and stuff. I happen to enjoy looking at that. So it's a cool looking place,
It
But yeah, yeah.
definitely is, as is this one.
The
Beautiful.
Maidwood Plantation in Napoleonville. The credibility of this is contested and there's mixed evidence, but the Maidwood Plantation house looks like it was built to be haunted, and many visitors would argue it succeeded. Rising along Bayou Le Fourche. You
Good
did it
job.
to me? Yeah, you snuck that one in there.
And I was trying to make them easy, but some of these words you just can't escape.
Well, yeah, yeah. My French is horrible. I mean, as in non-existent. Rising along the Bayou Le Fourche. Let's go with Le Fourche. How about that?
Sounds good.
Rising,
Sounds good.
rising along Bayou Le Fourche since 1846, this grand Greek revival mansion was designed by renowned architect Henry Howard as the centerpiece of a vast sugar plantation, with towering columns, echoing galleries, and rooms filled with cypress wood disguised as marble and exotic stone. Maidwood has the kind of atmosphere where footsteps seem a little too loud and empty rooms feel anything but empty. But over the years, guests and staff have reported unexplained lights, voices, and the feeling of being watched. Classic plantation hauntings layered over a very real and heavy past. The house was built by Colonel Tom Pugh, who died just 6 years later during yellow fever outbreak. And during the Civil War, its grounds were used as a Union hospital, adding illness, death, and suffering to the site's long memory. Excuse me, after falling into decline, Maidwood was painstakingly restored in the late 20th century and later designated a National Historic Landmark. Today, it operates as a bed and breakfast and film location, appearing everywhere from The Beguiled to Beyonce's Lemonade. But its reputation as one of Louisiana's most quietly haunted plantation remains. At Maidwood, the beauty is undeniable, and so is the sense that history never fully checked out.
And I guess that place is kind of close to the last one we saw, the Myrtle Plantation.
Hmm.
But can you imagine how long it would take to build those, back in those days without trucks and the
Yeah,
things that we have now? And then they always, it seems like, die within 10 years of building these
I
mansions.
know, right? I know.
Yeah, the kids.
I've seen reenactments of how they built these things, these multi-story homes that have a lot of very heavy materials, and the pulley system, the rigging,
Uh-huh.
scaffolding, and pulley systems is what they use to haul the really heavy stuff up to second levels and stand columns up and whatnot. And now, we look at a modern construction site, there's all kinds of machinery, but a
Exactly.
couple hundred years ago, no, you really got to admire the craftsmanship.
Yeah, and they're still standing despite
Yeah,
all the storms and everything else. They
yeah,
they built them to last, that's for
they did.
sure.
They did. Ooh,
There's
another
another one.
plantation, the Ormond Plantation in Destrehan. Credibility again on this one is contested, and there's mixed evidence, which seems to be a pattern with the plantations. But that's okay. The Ormond Plantation has a reputation that goes far beyond creaking floorboards and shadowy hallways. Its history includes a brutal slave uprising and violent retaliation, and ever since, stories of restless spirits have followed the property. As far back as the 1880s, witnesses reported dark figures moving across the grounds. Modern staff have described seeing a man dressed in 19th century clothing along with a young woman appearing upstairs. One encounter reportedly even caught on camera by a paranormal investigation team. Yes, Keith, everything was way cheap, right?
That's right.
Today, Ormond regularly ranks among the most haunted plantations in New Orleans, River Road country. The strange stories don't stop at the sightings. In 1798, plantation owner Pierre de Trapagnier.
You can look forward to this, the whole Louisiana Highway here.
Yes, yes. Pierre de Trapagnier left his dinner table to meet a supposed government official and was never seen again. No body, no explanation. Later owners met similarly grim ends. Colonel Richard Butler, who renamed the plantation after his ancestral Irish home, died of yellow fever, as did his wife. In 1898, State Senator Basile Laplace Jr. Well, I got that right, I think.
You did.
He bought
Ormond
only to meet a chillingly familiar fate nearly a century later. Called away from the dinner table and found dead. His bullet-riddled body hanging near the front drive. Some believe these deaths are tied to a curse placed on a plantation during the original uprising. Whether curse or coincidence, Ormond stands as one of River Road's earliest great plantations and one where history seems unwilling to stay quiet.
Those people met with violent ends out there, I tell you.
And apparently yellow fever.
Yeah, that one seems to be a common thing.
Yeah. Ooh.
This is a cool picture. It's from 1938 from some kind of architectural society.
That is very cool. This is Shadows on the Teish. I think that's right. In New Iberia. Shadows on the Teish sits high above Bayou Teish. I think that's right. If someone else figured it out, please text. And the moment it was built in 1834, tragedy seemed to follow it home. Constructed as a refined townhouse for wealthy sugar planter David Weeks and his wife Mary, the estate was powered by enslaved labor and designed for social life and elegance. But Weeks died the very year the house was completed, setting the tone for a long string of losses that would haunt the property. Over decades, family members died of illness, war, natural disaster, including children getting lost in the devastating 1856 Last Island hurricane, some of whom were buried on the grounds. Union officers later occupied the house during the Civil War. Mary Weeks herself died there, while the home was partially under military control. With so much sorrow compressed into one place, it's little surprise that Shadows on the Teish developed a reputation for being more than just historic. Visitors and staff have long reported unexplained footsteps, voices, and the feeling that certain rooms are still occupied. The house's private cemetery, underground cistern, and quiet gardens only deepen the sense of the past that the past never fully left. Today, the home is a National Historic Landmark operated by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. But despite careful restoration and scholarly interpretation, many say Shadows lives up to its name. History casts a long shadow here, and some believe it still moves through the halls after dark. That's a cool looking place.
Cool looking place, but boy, those people sure lived awful lives, Civil War going on, yellow fever, kids dying young. It's just not.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't live in that period of time.
Right. Oh,
this one really is disturbing.
This is one of the most disturbing stories of all. Hauntings may be entertaining. The history behind them is far more disturbing. The following video explores how extreme cruelty can exist in plain sight when power, wealth, and good reputation go unquestioned.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And this one's, that's still true today, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. You know,
Okay.
you know the golden rule, right? He who makes the gold has the gold, makes the rules.
That's that's true. All right. Well, this is another public domain Creative Commons video that I didn't have time to put my
known for its jazz, its culture, its ghosts, but there's one place in the French Quarter where history and horror are forever chained together. A mansion so infamous, even time avoids it. This is the story of Madame Delphine Lalaurie and the spirits said to still scream behind her walls. In the 1830s, Delphine Lalaurie was the toast of Creole society. Wealthy, beautiful, connected, her parties were legendary. Her home at 1140 Royal Street was the crown jewel of the French Quarter. But behind her charm was a cruelty that would stain the city forever. Whispers began to spread of strange sounds from the attic, of enslaved servants who vanished without a trace. Some said it was illness, others that she was merely strict. But the truth was far worse. Delphine Lalaurie wasn't just another wealthy woman in 1830s New Orleans. She was a socialite, married 3 times, and surrounded by the elite of Creole society. She hosted extravagant parties in her elegant Royal Street mansion. To the public, she was seen as charming, refined, even generous to her slaves. But that image was a lie. At the time, New Orleans had a complicated relationship with slavery. While it was legal and widespread, the city had stricter laws than other parts of the South. There were regulations meant to protect enslaved people from cruel punishments, on paper at least. But in practice, abuse was common and rarely punished unless it caused public scandal. And that's exactly what happened here. Lalaurie's reputation began to crack when neighbors noticed strange things, screams at night, enslaved servants who seemed terrified, and a young girl who, according to legend, leapt from the roof to escape punishment. Even in a society built on slavery, what was discovered in her attic shocked the city. It wasn't just cruelty, it was calculated, methodical torture, mutilation, starvation, medical experimentation. That's what made it such a scandal. She went beyond even what that brutal system condoned. On April 10, 1834, a fire broke out in the mansion's kitchen. Neighbors rushed to help. What they found upstairs made seasoned men weep. In a locked attic room, chained and broken bodies lay scattered, mutilated, starved, some still alive, barely. It wasn't punishment, it was torture. The public was horrified. A mob formed, but Delphine escaped in the chaos, reportedly fleeing to France. She was never brought to justice. The Lalaurie mansion has never known peace. For nearly 200 years, stories of shadow figures, wailing cries, and phantom footsteps have plagued its halls. Tenants over the decades have fled, some within days, claiming the screams never stop. One man, a real estate investor, jumped to his death from the top floor. He left behind a single note: "They would not let me sleep." Even paranormal investigators have called the energy inside unbearable. It's said that Delphine's victims still remain trapped in torment. Some even say she returned to join them. Even after nearly 2 centuries, the Lalaurie mansion hasn't found peace. In fact, it's widely considered one of the most haunted places in America. Visitors walking past at night often report an overwhelming sense of dread, like being watched. Some claim to hear screams or weeping coming from behind the locked gates, even though no one's lived there in years. Paranormal investigators have captured disturbing EVPs, ghostly voices picked up on audio equipment. Cold spots are frequently detected on thermal cameras, and more than one guest has seen shadowy figures moving in the upper windows, where the attic once held its secrets. Even Nicolas Cage, who briefly owned the mansion in the early 2000s, described it as deeply unsettling. He sold it just a few years later and never lived there. Today, the mansion remains privately owned and closed to the public. No overnight tours, no sleepovers, and according to locals, no one stays there long. Whatever happened inside those walls, it left something behind. Delphine LaLaurie has become more than a historical figure. She's a ghost story, a boogeyman, a myth wrapped in truth. But why? Because what happened in that house isn't just history. It's a warning, a wound. In Louisiana folklore, spirits bound by rage and pain are never truly gone. They linger, especially in places that feed on suffering. The LaLaurie Mansion isn't just haunted, it's cursed, a monument to cruelty and the silence that once protected it. So if you ever visit Royal Street and pass the mansion with the shuttered windows, don't stop. Don't stare too long. And if you hear screaming, it's already too late. If this haunted history...
I'll meet you there in the morning.
Isn't that horrible? I don't understand these people that are so evil.
Well, if you dehumanize a human, then they are no longer human, and therefore what you do to them is not inhumane.
Yeah.
And it definitely is a twisted way of thinking, but unfortunately, that's the long and short of it.
Yep, and she got away with it. Just moved to Paris, and
yeah,
no consequences for that kind of
tradition or nothing. No.
But even if that place isn't haunted per se, I just think energy-wise, like your wife Day talks about, you can feel stuff in the walls. It's like they had to just burn that place down.
Yeah. No, I learned a long time ago that if Day feels uneasy in a place, then we need to leave.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't think she'd step foot in there, but they do have it close to the public now because the energies is so bad there.
I mean, I know it's architecturally significant, but some places like that, I think they just need to be pushed over.
Yeah.
Put a parking garage there, or a Waffle House, or whatever.
Exactly. But yep, that was the creepiest story of the evening. So
I read a cool story about Arizona.
You did? What'd you read?
Yes, I did. I read that there's legislation pending to eliminate speed limits on rural highways.
I've seen that.
I'll be visiting.
Through Wyoming, I think it was Wyoming I was driving through, there's no speed limit. So you could go really fast through there, but they better keep it on some of these mountain passes, because coming home, I saw a very bad fatal wreck through there. But on the straightaway, like if you go from Phoenix to Tucson, should be able to do 85, 95, no problem. Nice highway.
120, motorcycle, 200.
Yeah, there you go. Let my car do probably like 120, I think. So, that would be fun.
I think if I went 120 miles an hour in my Nissan, the wheels would fall off and it would explode.
But it would be fun, right?
What a way to go, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that is creepy, though. But let's talk about the Charity Hospital Cemetery, of course, in New Orleans. Charity Hospital Cemetery is one of New Orleans' quietest and most unsettling resting places. Before 1848, it was known simply as Potter's Field, where hundreds of the city's poorest residents were buried after dying from yellow fever. and influenza, often without names or markers. More than a century later, tragedy returned. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, hundreds of identified and unclaimed victims were laid to rest there. Hurricane Katrina, well, I'm sorry, I missed that. Once again, in unmarked ground. Near the entrance stands the New Orleans Katrina Memorial, where visitors leave offerings, most notably colorful strands of Mardi Gras beads, transforming grief into remembrance. With so much loss layered into the land, it's not surprising that strange stories persist. Visitors and commuters report seeing apparitions of children, sometimes accompanied by the sound of laughter, drifting across the grass. Others claim to have seen figures in hospital gowns wandering the grounds or crossing nearby streets, so convincingly, in fact, that legend holds a streetcar once derailed when a driver tried to avoid hitting one of those ghostly patients. Today, paranormal investigators arrive with dowsing rods and EMS meters, hoping to make contact. Whether one believes the stories or not, Charity Hospital Cemetery feels heavy with memory, a place where the past still seems to move among the living.
I've got a friend who has relatives that lives out there, and he says that they still haven't really recovered from Katrina. There's still a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and nowadays, will they even fund recovery with FEMA?
I,
Not that far from here, we had some major flooding, and they denied helping at
yeah.
all
Well,
after all
they're not.
this.
They're not going to jump out and offer a bunch of money to the people in California that are suffering the floods and the mudslides and the landslides.
Oh, just awful out there.
Yeah, Day and I were
It's
watching some video on that earlier today. It might have been yesterday, and it's just heartbreaking. You know,
yep,
these aren't criminals or bad people. These are just regular folks that have lost everything they have, and in some cases, family members. So
yeah, very, very sad.
I know. And
This
it's funny.
one's quite. Oh,
It's
go
funny
ahead.
because I'm just going to say it's funny because there's been so much controversy about rebuilding in New Orleans or in the Delta area, in general, and people are saying, "Well, just move." That's not how cities work. You can't just pick up and move an entire city. There's infrastructure. There's a lot of people who just don't have the ability, whether it be for health reasons or finances or both, to pick up and move.
Exactly.
No, that's where the city is, and the answer is not move the city, is to find better ways of protecting it. That's really
You know,
the only response to that. I believe it's just my opinion.
no, I completely agree. And it's the way things seem to be going. There's climate related disasters happening all over the state. So even if you did have the means to move and get new work and make a living, it's like who knows what's going to hit next. It's
Yeah,
just everywhere.
yeah. Just hunker down and try and hope and pray. Whatever you do, that people who hold purse strings are going to be willing to fortify wherever you are, and
Yeah.
particularly in areas that are prone to disaster, like the entirety of California, San Andreas Fault and those other faults, and also obviously New Orleans and all that reclaimed land in New York City was built on the water.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so, and that's not even to say anything about the hundreds of thousands of people in this world that live on barrier islands that are just barely above
Yep.
sea level. So, anyway.
Well, then on the flip side, out west, the Colorado River that takes care of like 44 million people,
Mm,
hydropower, all this other stuff.
yeah,
The latest science is it's got 2 years
yeah,
and we're running out of water out here. So it's like everywhere. These things, I mean, I think as a nation, we need to start learning a little compassion and
yeah.
empathy.
Or,
We'll see if that ever happens.
you remember that movie Contact? With,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a great movie. And one of the subplot, not subplots, but part of the storyline is that the entire world got together to build this machine because it was so expensive that no one nation could afford to build it. You know,
Right.
and I'm not really an expert in this area at all, and I could be completely off base here, but it seems to me that if we had enough cooperation from enough countries with brilliant minds and their ability to generate capital, we would have figured out a way by now to desalinate ocean water so the entire planet can have fresh drinking water.
Yeah.
I,
I
I don't.
think
I don't understand. I mean, shit. Kevin Costner pissed into a little cup in the movie Waterworld, and he drank it. I mean, come on. There's got to be a way to be able to turn ocean water or salt water into potable water.
they're doing that in Israel quite a bit and some in California, but it's just so expensive. And that's our problem. It's like everything is really expensive. There's no cooperation. And it's just this competitiveness between the nations and everything
Yeah.
else. Just like AI. It could be a really wonderful thing, but everyone's in this race, to compete instead of
And I don't care
using
where
it
you live.
responsibly for the good of the planet.
I don't care where you live, whether you're, a barely or unknown tribe in the middle of the jungle, or you live in the billionaire's tower in Manhattan. Everyone on this planet needs clean water.
Yep.
So it would be wonderful to see a consortium of nations saying, you know what, we're going to do this, and we're not going to pass the cost on to customers. Each country will absorb what it can and what it agrees to, and we can do this. And now you won't have contaminated or water shortages, whether it's in Arizona or in Central Africa.
Or Iran. I think they're going dry right
Yeah,
now. And
yeah,
then Turkey's got all these huge sinkholes. It's going to be a big issue. I
yeah,
guarantee you.
yeah. Anyway, let's get back
So,
to the fun stuff. The
yeah,
Moriarty
this
Monument.
thing is amazing.
Ooh, of course, in New Orleans. Moriarty Monument is impossible to miss. It rises 80 feet in the air. It's the tallest monument in the Metairie Cemetery. According to legend, it's entirely the whole point. The towering granite steeple was commissioned by Daniel A. Moriarty, an Irish immigrant who built a fortune in New Orleans, but was never fully accepted by the city's elite. When his wife, Mary Farrell Moriarty, died in 1887, Daniel decided to honor her in a way nobody could ignore. Nobody puts baby in a corner. The result was
That's
a
right.
memorial. The result was a memorial so grand it practically shouts across the cemetery, "I belong here, whether you like it or not." Local lore adds an extra layer of intrigue. At the base of the monument stand 4 life-size statues, said to represent the virtues of faith, hope, charity, and either Mary herself or memory, depending on who you ask. Mary's death is is conspicuously absent from the monument, reportedly because she was sensitive about being older than her husband. Daniel and his father are buried nearby, but it's the monument that carries the story forward. Set among the elaborate tombs of Metairie Cemetery, a former horse racing track turned city of the dead, the Moriarty Monument isn't traditionally haunted, yet many feel it radiates defiance, pride, and unfinished business. In a cemetery filled with monuments to legacy, this one feels like a statement carved in stone.
I mean, at 80 feet, I'm
Yeah,
wondering if that's higher than monuments worldwide.
that's
It's just
yeah, that's
amazing.
uh, that's a heck of a tombstone right there. Man.
Yeah, and there was a lot of tension with the Irish and the powers that be in New Orleans, and so that doesn't surprise me that he did that.
Yeah,
This one's quite famous.
the St. Louis Cemetery, number 1 in, again, New Orleans. The St. Louis Cemetery, number 1, is the oldest surviving cemetery in New Orleans and easily one of its most atmospheric. Established in 1789 just outside the original French Quarter, it introduced the city's now famous above-ground tombs, built to cope with flooding, epidemics, and swampy ground. Walking through its narrow paths feels like you're entering a stone labyrinth, lined with society tombs, wall vaults, nicknamed oven tombs, and ornate mausoleums influenced by French and Spanish design. It is a national historic landmark, but it is also very much alive in the city's cultural memory, holding the remains of figures like voodoo priestess Marie Leville, civil rights pioneer Homer Plessy, architect Benjamin Latrobe, and chess prodigy Paul Morphy. With so much history packed into a single city block, it's no surprise the cemetery has earned a powerful paranormal reputation. Visitors and tour guides report whispers, shadowy figures, cold spots, and the feeling of being watched, especially near Marie Laveau's tomb. Long associated with offerings, rituals, and unanswered wishes, some claim apparitions move between the tombs at dusk, while others describe sudden emotional shifts or disorientation inside the maze of stone. Today, access is limited to licensed guided tours only, both to protect the site and to preserve its fragile tombs. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the St. Louis Cemetery number 1 feels charged with presence, a place where history, belief, and legend are tightly sealed together.
And I guess there's a 2, 3, I don't remember if there's a 4, but before it was like limited just to specific tours. Denise,
Yeah.
who's on our Wednesday, and her husband went there, and
Yeah.
she said there was a lot of riffraff running around and,
Yeah.
thieves and that kind of stuff. So they probably had to do that to.
Yeah, because that's just how people are.
Have you been to New Orleans?
I've been to New Orleans. I've never been to New Orleans Cemetery. I've never been to any of that. I like everyone else from the Northeast. You go down there for Mardi Gras. I went like 8 years in a row.
Oh, wow. Was it fun?
That was a blast, but I don't know, very young. I was very young. Probably too young to be down there with my friends, but, my parents weren't exactly disciplinarians.
Well, that's cool. I've never really had a desire to go there for some reason, but I've heard it's a lot of fun for Mardi Gras.
I generally avoid cemeteries. And it really doesn't, it's not about I'm worried that, a zombie's going to crawl out of the grave or a ghost or whatever. It feels like you're walking on hallowed ground. And doesn't matter what religion or not, we're trying to tie a religion to a cemetery. But it just kind of makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm walking on top of people.
I kind of like going to them, especially the ones out west, because there's so much history.
Yeah.
And it's like you could get the name. It's pretty. Some of them out here are quite interesting. But I'm careful where I walk.
Yeah.
Follow the trail.
Right.
Okay,
Ooh.
I thought I'd lighten it up a little bit.
Lighten it up a little bit. The Devil's Toy Box, location undisclosed. Devil's Toy Box is one of Louisiana's most unsettling legends, and it doesn't rely on ghosts to be terrifying. The story describes a small room completely lined with mirrors, all facing inward, creating an endless tunnel of reflections. Step inside and your image multiplies infinitely, warping shadows and depth until it becomes difficult to tell where reality ends and illusion begins. According to legend, the longer you stay, the more hostile the reflections become.
Sounds like my hair in the morning when I look at myself.
Originally built as a Halloween attraction, the Devil's Toy Box was reportedly shut down after visitors experienced panic attacks, mental breakdowns, and even medical emergencies. Some claimed that they saw things in the mirrors that weren't supposed to be there. Since its closure, the exact location has faded into obscurity, leaving behind only rumors and the unnerving idea that sometimes the scariest hauntings aren't spirits at all, but what happens when the mind is pushed too far.
And here we go, so you can see it for yourself.
Within the sinister, mirrored confines of Louisiana's Devil's Toy Box, this chilling cabin, cloaked entirely in mirrors, is said to unravel minds in mere minutes. Hidden away on an isolated farm in North Louisiana, its dark legend haunts the whispers of thrill seekers and ghost hunters who dare to speak its name. No one has ever survived more than 4 minutes and 37 seconds inside. Terrifying accounts of heart attacks, maddening insanity, and the devil himself emerging from the glass to claim lost souls abound. Originally constructed as a Halloween attraction in 2014, it was hastily shut down after panic-stricken visitors had to be dragged out. Today, the exact location is shrouded in mystery, heightening its eerie allure. Would you dare to enter the Devil's Toy Box and face your own reflection from every angle?
I would think about mirrors.
I don't think I would like that at all.
No, I don't. I never liked the fun house. You know, the house of mirrors, the hall of mirrors, whatever they had when the carnivals came through.
I don't mind them if I look thinner. That's my vanity.
Well, there's a whole other set of mirrors for that. Those little mirrors that shape, different ways and whatnot.
Yep. So,
well, what's the credibility? Zero. It's only an urban legend. Join us next week for more of the Louisiana Paranormal Highway with bizarre cryptids and some truly spooky tales. Yeah.
So let me find the thing. Well,
where's the thing? The thing is gone.
There's the thing. So that was kind of dark. A lot of these out there are really dark. Like some of the states, they're funny. These, they're kind of creepy.
Well, they got the whole voodoo thing down there.
Yeah, I think the slavery is what makes it the worst. It's just so disturbing.
There's a lot of that down here. A lot of the stories you hear down here, whether it be from YouTube videos or just talking to the locals out here in the South. I mean, they're really old ones. Like, I'm an old man. They could have been my parents. They have stories, and every now and then they'll share their stories, and it'll end up in a little local, newspaper or whatever. But a lot of it revolves around the time before the Civil War.
Oh. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So, but on a happier note, thank you for joining tonight. Are you going to go out partying for New Year's Eve or?
Yeah, we're going to party. We'll be in bed by 9:00.
That's me too. I usually go to bed early on New Year's Eve night.
No, God, the whole thought of being out on New Year's Eve just scares the crap out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some
especially in the Atlanta area, because someone's going to get run over, arrested, shot, or whatever. So
True. Well, I saw on the news this on Christmas that they're saying only 24% of the U.S. population parties on New Year's Eve now, because all of us think the same way. I'm not getting arrested. I'm not getting hit by a drunk driver. It's like
or just mass shootings everywhere. It doesn't matter, everyone's got guns down here, and there are also states, obviously, where very few people have guns, and I don't care where you are. If there's a sniper with the high ground advantage, what you got in your pocket or in your holster or on your hip or in your purse isn't going to save you.
Yeah, true.
It's just not. You're more than likely to shoot someone else or yourself. But, you get a sniper that can be that accurate at 1,000 feet or 1,000 yards or even further. What are you going to do with the little Glock?
Exactly. Kind of like taking a knife to a gunfight. So.
Yeah. So, I avoid crowds on holidays or major events. It's not worth it.
Well, hopefully 2026 will be a good year. And, I'm wishing everybody here for joining us, and those that come probably tomorrow after the show. Thank you for watching. And from Cosmic Fold to all of you, Happy New Year, and we'll see you, as the corny saying goes, see you next year.
And with that, I'm out.
Bye. Thank you, Al.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.